Hey everyone, it is Natalie from Being Intentionally Creative, and again we're going to do something a little different. By now you've figured out that I like doing things a little differently. On one of Steve McDonald's is it arts and crafts video that he did, he put sawdust shavings into his resin and then put it into the mold. And that's what I want to do. I want to give this a shot, see how it works out for me. I am going to be using a skull mold. It's a pot skull mold. You'll see the center piece in there. Hopefully you can see it. There we go. And we're just going to, see how this works out for me. We're going to be putting in some glitter, Recollections Halloween specialty glitter. I'm also going to be using alcohol inks. I want to sort of play around a little bit in that I'm going to make up my resin. I am going to have 3 different cups because I don't feel like cleaning out these cups after I'm done with them. So we're going to mix up the resin. We're going to put sawdust into the resin. I'm going to split it out into 3 cups. My idea from a color perspective is to use alcohol ink brown, some Valencia, or it's an orange, a green pearl. This is a sublime green. Well, it's just sublime alcohol pearl. I want to put a little bit of gold in, and I'll sort of explain how I'm going to do that one. And then I've also got this, as I'm throwing everything around, picket fence white distress ink. So my plan, as I've lost, let me get this back. All right. So the plan is I'm going to use I'll call it the orange, the green, and the brown is going to get mixed in with the resin and the sawdust. I'm wondering how, if I put some of the sawdust / resin into it and then put some of the other 2 colors, how it's sort of going to interact. Because it's sawdust, I'm expecting it to soak up a lot of moisture. So I'm not sure how just doing spritz of alcohol ink into the mold as I'm pouring it's going to work out for me, but I kind of want to try and see what's going to happen. I'm probably going to mix some of this glitter in each of the colors, so we kind of have it sort of spread around. I think that's how I want to do it. We will add the sawdust sparingly as such, because I don't want it too thick. I mean, I want to be able to get it in there, but I also don't want all of the sawdust at one end of this piece either. I'm going to have to, be very aware of what I'm doing from that perspective. Anyway, I'm going to mix up my resin, and then I'll bring you back. We'll get mixing some stuff up. We'll see how it goes. And hopefully when we take it out of the mold, it'll have a cool effect that you might know that there's sawdust in it. Maybe not because of the colors, but hopefully we'll get to see that. And I'll be curious to know how just sort of spritzing some of the alcohol in as we're pouring the different colors in, whether or not it is able to sort of move around like it normally would if we were doing it without the sawdust. So I'm not sure about that. The other thing I had kind of thought about, but I'm not sure about it either, is I almost wanted to do the teeth in gold. I've got a really nice eye candy pigment, not eye candy mica powder that it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous gold. And I had thought about doing that, but I don't know if I want to have the teeth really standing out that much. And the other idea I might have is to do, I've got a really eye candy red that might work, or maybe doing a gold and red. So I'm not really 100% sure on that right now, but that's okay. We know that that's how I operate. And well, maybe red and gold would be a good idea. Anyway, I'm going to go get figured out on that perspective, and I'll get my resin figured out, and then we will come back and we'll see how this all plays together. I'll see you in a bit. Have our 3 colors mixed up now, our brown, our orange, and our green. And I've got my measuring cups covered up in the event that I need to make a little bit more. We're going to put in our sawdust now, very carefully. Again, I wish I had, actually the tweezers might work. Get them off the cup. Just to put this in, or I guess I can just go like that. Hopefully you can, well no you can't, maybe you can, I don't know. Like I said, I want to do it sort of, I don't want to get a lot in there just in case, because I don't want the, whatchamacallit, the sawdust to kind of take over the resin, if you will. I made up 300 mils of resin, and yeah, so here's hoping. Oops, let's put that there. We'll get some into the orange now. I put in one of the bigger beaters for the resin mixer, and I think it was too big. I think there's gonna be a bit of learning curve for me anyway, with, you know, what the best containers are to mix it in, and so forth and so on, what, you know, beaters to use for what. Yeah, but that's okay, right? It's all part of the learning process. Eventually I'll become a pro at it. I think there's definitely enough in that one. And yeah, I'm just I'll learn as I go. Now, I did find a couple of big wood pieces in my sawdust. So if you're going to do this, I would recommend, you know, not having big pieces in, just have the sort of the sawdust part of it. All right. My resin is starting to warm up a little bit, so I'm going to want to get this poured in sooner than later. So. And I know I'm going to have air bubbles in this, and if I, you know, could let it sit, I would let it sit if I could, but I think I just need to get this poured now. One of the disadvantages of having multiple colors when you're doing something like this. Yeah, I think I've definitely got enough of the sawdust in here. And I know my cups are rather big. If you're not seeing some of this, yeah, it's just because I got really big cups here. What did I do for the teeth? So I did put some red and gold in there. So let's pour some of this on and in, and hopefully it'll sink down to where I need it to. Get some of the resin going with it. I may apparently have to turn my skull because this seriously isn't in the direction that I need it to be. And we'll just knock it. I may have to smoosh this around, I'm not sure. Hopefully this works for me, and it's not too much of a mess by the end of the day. But again, I mess it up, and you know what not to do. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to push this down and around. And it may have been a better idea to do this on a not this kind of mold, but hey, again, we're learning, right? I do so you don't have to do. That's the whole point to this. May turn out just to be a cluster of wrongness, or it may work out really cool. Who knows? Oh, I haven't got this turned the right way again. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to, I'm pushing it down on the sides because I need to. And I'm going to tap the bottom of it. I'll show you in a minute what I mean by that. And hopefully whatever resin, I mean the resin's sinking, sort of somewhat to the bottom of the cups. So when I mean tap, I mean, let me get that out of the way. So I'm doing this. I don't know if that's going to do anything or help my cause any, but that's what I'm doing now. I need it that way. And then what I'll do with, once I get this, some more of this orange in, and I think the sawdust is really, I mean, sawdust is meant to soak stuff up. So let's put a little bit of gold on here. Come on, open up. Ugh, what a mess it is around that. It's always a good idea to wipe these alcohol ink bottles, the top off. Let's just put a little bit down the sides, and I don't think this is going to do much of anything. I could be really wrong on that, but I don't get the feeling it's going to do much of anything. So I just squirt it in, right? Get to the point and just squirt it in. Let's get to the point and squirt it in. Okay, let me get those two colors pushed down. I'm making quite the mess. There's a slit at the back of this, which is kind of cool. Help me push things down. I'm in camera. Good, good. Get a bit more of the green in. And then we'll do some more tapping. I feel like I'm working with lettuce. It might turn out cool. I'm not gonna, I mean, I'm a little concerned about it, but you know, that's okay. It'll be what it's meant to be. So yeah, I'm just gonna jiggle, jiggle, jiggle this all over the place. I can even go from the inside a little bit. All right, let's do the orange now. And yeah, I'm really hoping I have enough. Because like usual, I don't want to make any more. And I think if I made any, I would just make it clear. And then do a bit of a rainbow effect with the, whatchamacallit, with the alcohol inks. So I'm kind of going down and around the sides a little bit. Just to sort of maneuver it down. Put a little bit more of the, and put some weight in here. May just give it kind of a ghostly look. I don't know. We're about 3/4 of the way up. I might need to make some more resin. If I knew the mix to mold would stick to the resin, I'd make that up at some point, but we know that's not going to happen. So let's take that out. Still in camera, that's good. That's good, that's good, that's good. Definitely making a mess in my skull. Okay, I'm going to take this out. Now, the one thing I find with resin, which drives me absolutely nuts, and you can let me know in the comments below if it does you, is when you pull out your stick and it starts flying all around the side of the cup. That drives me nuts. It's like you don't need to be, you know, swimming all over the place. Yeah, I think part of my issue with this is going to be the sawdust sinking to the bottom. But hey, might make it more interesting that way. Just trying to get it all sort of smooshed down there. And okay, jiggling it around a little bit. I'll get out my spatula to get as much of this resin out of here as I can. I mean, that might be okay. Be sweet if I am, right? So anything interesting going on in anybody's life today? You thought of working with sawdust? It was only because of Steve's video that I thought, well, let's give it a go. And with Halloween coming up, I thought the skull would be a good idea. It might have been a big project to undertake with this, but hey, well, sometimes you just go big. You just go big. Okay, I have to get the spatula out for that one. I need it for this one. Now the other thing I could do if I don't have enough resin is like I've done before, I could drop in some of my stones that I've got just to fill it up so I don't have to make more resin. Oh, excuse me. Getting close to the top, but I think I'm just going to be out just a little bit. Oops, I have to clean that up because I don't want that getting into my sawdust. So let's get you out of the way somewhere. All right. Feel like he's got a bit of a lean on himself. Okay, let me get my spatula out. Let's see how much we can get in here. And actually I have some green glass pieces that I could put in it as well. I just know I need something that's going to be heavy and push the resin up. And that might be my better game plan. Okay, I think I got all that I can out of that one. Now it's getting sticky. That over there. So are you sitting on pins and needles wondering how this piece is going to come out? I do. You know, it's kind of interesting. You get doing these projects and you go, oh, is this a good idea or was this a bad idea? And I figure, you know what? If we don't give, and I've said it before, if we don't do these things, we don't know what's going to work, what's going to turn out totally wrong. Like, I mean, I've had pieces, and I've shown those to you, that have totally turned out wrong. And, you know what? Sometimes it bothers me that I've done them and they have turned out totally wrong, but at the same time, it's like, okay, so how can we improve? What's next steps? I'm trying to figure out where to put that. What's next steps? Like what's, you know, my next move, or how can I improve on? And I think that's all part of the game. Now I'm going to have a little bit from the mixer as well, from the blades of the resin mixer, so we'll get that and put it in here as well. And I've got air bubbles coming up. I expect there to be bubbles in this. Like, I think I'd be naive if I were to think there wasn't going to be some air bubbles in this. But again, I think that for a Halloween piece kind of is cool. So I'm a little shy. I could have made some more resin. If I'd made about 350, it'd probably have been better. And I'm going to have to think about what I would need if I didn't have the sawdust in here. Okay, let's see what we can get off of our mixer. I don't think it's going to be a lot. I put on the big paddle this time. I think that was a little overkill on my part. All right, let's just get this out. Okay, so we're not doing too bad for having this. So I'm just gonna put you on a quick pause because I do want to get this up to the top, and for me to make more resin doesn't really make a lot of sense. And we'll just do this, and I might too see about putting I don't know if I might have an elastic upstairs that might be enough to hold this together right here. I think they put that on there. Oh, that might do it. Get the resin in there. That might be enough to do it. Push it right there. All right, I'm gonna put you on a slight pause. I'm gonna go grab my gloves off, and then we'll finish this up together, and then we'll let it sit and see whether this was a good idea or a bad idea. I'll be right back. See, for once I was right back. Okay. So what I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to spray a little bit of alcohol on the top of this, just because we've got air bubbles coming up, which is no surprise. And then we will start. They're not big, but they're, you see those really well. They're not small, but they're, hopefully enough that, and if I need something a little bit bigger, like I said, I just want to get it up enough that, because making more resin isn't floating my boat right now. So I think I'm going to have to start getting a little bit better on how much I need of stuff, because my calculation seem to be off a little bit these days. Which is unfortunate. And I think I will get an elastic, because this piece at the back here is starting to pull apart again. So I'll go and once we're done this part of the video, I'll go and get a piece of elastic or something that I can wrap around this, just to keep it together. And the great thing about the glass is that it's green, so it should blend in really well. You may or may not be able to see it, and it may end up, because of where the center is, it may just end up sitting on that, which is fine with me. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to get a little bit better on my calculations. If anyone's got any suggestions on how to, properly calculate when you're working with something like this, let me know. I sometimes, even with doing rectangles and squares and whatnot, I don't always find the resin calculators are correct. Either that or, you know, my measurements on stuff really, it's really no good. That's always possible. So we're getting close to the top. And I mean, I think I've got enough of the center covered that, you know, I don't think I really need to worry about putting any more in now. I think if I were to sort of work my, yeah, I don't think I need to worry about that. It's kind of nice having the green with the pearlescent in it, and I think having some of the gold in it as well is going to be kind of cool. So we'll just squidgy. It's starting to warm up a little bit. It's definitely not hot, which is good. So I think it might cure a little faster than I would expect it to, but that's okay. So yeah, I'll get something to hold that in there. One, so I don't have a big sort of mark at the back of his head, because I don't want that. So I'm going to let you go. We will be back when it's time to take this out of its mold, and we'll see whether this was a flop or not. I'm hoping not. Anyway, again, another thing to play with. We will see when it's time to take it out of the mold. Are we ready to see how my skull came out? One thing I will note, I was having a really hard time finding something to put around the back of this. So obviously I didn't get anything put around it. We may have a little bit to deal with here, but I don't think it's going to be a big issue. It's set rather quickly. Not like quick. I don't think it was a flash cure, but it definitely did set somewhat quickly. It's going to be a matte piece, and we can see the piece here that I'm going to have to cut out. So let's hopefully get this loosened and I can get it out without having to take it out of camera view. The trick is being able to get things to roll back. Oops. Something just went flying. Ugh. I gotta get the back rolling down. It's got a thick piece. That might be a challenge, and I don't want it to go flying. Holding on. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I have to get rid of that. It's kind of a sharp spot, so I don't want to get my hand too close to that. There we go. Well, he's turning out better than I thought. I mean, there's going to be air bubbles, and I can see some of those, but that's okay. I have oh, that spot there. Isn't that cute? Funny but cute. I'm going to have to clean them up a little bit. Apparently I should stop using the white ink I've got from Ranger on stuff. Would you say? Yeah, I'm pretty much agreeing with you on that one, Natalie. Stop doing that. That's okay. And I'm going to have to, there's some things I have to clean out of this guy, but I can do that later. I just want to get the white stuff off of it. Okay. It's early in the morning. That's why I'm coughing a little bit. Okay, so let me just get my X-Acto knife. I want to get rid of that piece at the back. Oh, hopefully I don't need my, oh, what was I thinking of? My Dremel to do that. Because that piece is definitely got to come off. Maybe my heavier one might be a bit better. And I'm just going back and forth to loosen that up. I don't want to cut my hand. That's the big reason. I can clean this up with my Dremel later, but let's get it off. And that's not, you got to be really careful. I'm sure most of you know you have to be really careful with X-Acto knives, because it kind of ran into my hand right here. I don't think I cut myself. I'm not seeing any blood, but just, yeah, be really careful with your X-Acto knife if you're using it. I know, always go away from yourself. Yeah, so I've got a little bit to clean up there, but that won't take much. So this is what we've got. It was interesting because after I poured this and I was cleaning up and everything, I had wondered about color. Was I going to be able to see the various colors? Now the green isn't really coming through. However, I don't care, because I think maybe what it's done, it's helped out a little bit with the brown not being so overpowering, right? Like it's given it a bit of lightness. You can actually see a little bit of the green back here. So it's actually helped out a little bit in not making it, you know, dark. Now, I'm wondering about his eye here and whether that's just going to wipe off. I seriously have to, I got some, I have some cleaning up to do. I think, yeah, as I make more of a mess, I'm just trying to get the weight off. I think I'll be able to get that out. I'll take a little bit of time and maybe some alcohol, pull that out of his eye area. All right, getting back to my skull. Here's what the inside looks like. I don't know how well that's, oh, there we go. Showing up better for you? I'm looking at the viewfinder. I'm making sure I can see. I like that I put the glitter in because it's sort of randomly showing up in it. What do you think of his teeth? Did they come out okay? Actually, I'm glad I did that because it sort of makes them look better. I know the word I'm thinking of, I just can't say it this morning. And I like these pieces of, like, the wood that you can see in here. That's kind of cool. That turned out cool. That turned out cool. And yes, I do have air bubbles, which we knew we were going to get. That's not nothing big there. I think that's where some of my gold was from, you know, just spritzing in some of the alcohol ink. I have a big air bubble here. But I don't know, you know, again, it's one of those things, it's a skull, so having air bubbles isn't a big deal. I mean, I can fill those in if I want to, just to get rid of the roughness of them and just get it more level. But I don't know. I don't know if I want to. And I like that it's a matte finish. I think he looks cool. Will I do anything with the eyes? I don't know. One of my smaller ones actually took some glow-in-the-dark paint by, who's it by? Folk Art. And all I did, I'll just pull him over for a second, and then I'll let you go. But I think my skull turned out pretty decently. All right. So, I have Folk Art glow in the dark. I have this green and I have this purple called Purple Pop. Got these at Michael's. If anyone's looking for them, I'm guessing they probably still have them, but I'm not 100% sure. I got these a while ago. Anyway, as I get my X-Acto knives out of the way, all I did was I took a paintbrush and I put glow in the dark in the eye area here. Does it glow? I haven't got a clue because I have not come down at night to see, and I'm thinking maybe put a second coat on it, but I thought, because this was the one we made to glow in the dark, and it does to some extent, but again, I haven't come down in the middle of the night to see it. I should really take it upstairs, because then if I get up in the middle of the night, I'm more apt to go out and look at it. So that's something I could do with these eyes as well, is do something in relation to, you know, glowing in the dark. Yeah, but I don't know about you, but I'm actually impressed by this guy. I think he looks really cool. And the nice thing too is really deep base. So if you wanted to put a plant in here, you could. Something eerie, some sort of scene in here. You could use it just for candy. That would work too, or something short. I'm trying to think what I've got around here that I could put in it. But a really nice big cavity in there. Yeah, I'm impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect with this, but I like them. I definitely have to. There's some really sharp edges on the bottom of that, but yeah. I think I'm going to be able to get rid of all of that because it hasn't really set there, so I'm going to work on that. But there we have it. There's our matte finished sawdust skull. And I have to admit, I was a little concerned about there being too much of the sawdust sort of sinking down to this area, but you really can't tell. Maybe more so if I were to coat this or wax it with something, but no, I like it. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of this piece. Have you tried sawdust and things? And don't ever put the white alcohol stuff like I've been doing in my pieces. Don't do that. Just don't. Unless you want to have stuff like this happen to you. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a great day, whatever creative endeavor you're getting up to. Take care, and bye for now.